We're all set, members of council.
Good afternoon, members of council, ladies and gentlemen, staff. Thank you for joining us. Sorry about the delay. We did have some technical difficulties, but we now are recording, so thank you. I would like to welcome someone who has been in this chamber quite a bit, and it's great to see him back, Wayne Campbell. Thank you for being here. Wayne, nice to see you working for one of the media outlets again, so thanks for joining us today. We do have the agenda before us. It has been moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Durley. Be it resolved that the agenda for the August 31st, 2015 special meeting of council be adopted as circulated. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. The next item is disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Do any members have any pecuniary interest they need to declare?
None.
Can that be so noted that no members present have any conflicts of interest? Thank you. Now we're moving to consideration of the transit provider agreement. I do have a motion. It's been moved by Councillor Durley, seconded by Councillor King. Be it resolved, the council receive the Pelham Community Transportation Pilot Program Implementation Approval Issue Summary Report, and the council accept the proposal from Sharp Bus Lines Limited to provide a conventional transit service, a trans cab service, and a shuttle service for town residents, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to enter into an agreement with Sharp Bus Lines Limited for a period of August 31st, 2015 to March 31st, 2017. Any discussion regarding the report and the proposal? Councillor Kersey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to our director. I see that we can cancel the contract with 6 months' notice with the provider. Is that correct?
Ms. Van Ravensway?
Mr. Mayor, that is true if the provider does not provide the service as expected.
So the only grounds that we could cancel is if we're not satisfied with their service. We couldn't cancel it on the basis of zero ridership for an extended period of time or anything like that?
Ms. Van Ravensway?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, no.
No? Okay. Okay. If I may,
Of course.
in the event of us canceling and stopping the service, what are the implications with respect to our contract with the province if it's done prior to the end of the service contract?
Ms. Van Ravensway?
If we do not, through you, Mr. Mayor, if we do not provide the service as we intended through the grant, we would have to pay back a portion of the monies that we have received from the ministry, if we've received more than what we've used.
I think, Councillor, I can ask the director, because what's before us is the agreement, not canceling the agreement. So do we anticipate that we're going to have to cancel the agreement?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, no, we don't anticipate that we would cancel the agreement. Over the next couple of weeks and during implementation, as well as during the public consultation process, we have held meetings with large community centers, as well as throughout the whole community. The feedback has been very positive. We have a tentative schedule based on the public consultation representing pickups and drop-offs. It is our thought that it will only get more, the need will be increased rather than decreased.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kersey?
Yeah, I understand that we're not talking about canceling the service, but it's a clause that's inherent in the contract that I just wanted some clarification. So,
Okay.
If I could ask another question through you, Mr. Mayor. So our total on the hook budgetary expense appears to be in the $74,000 range if we run true to the full budget and with no other revenues, vis-a-vis ridership, advertising revenues, et cetera.
Who wants to speak to that? Ms. Van Ravensway or Ms. Pupo? Okay. Ms. Van Ravensway?
What is indicated here are the expenses with no revenues. We will be providing a report to council September the 8th with fares, proposed fares. And the fares will be offsetting a portion of the revenues as well as other means that perhaps our director can speak to, and sponsorships and so forth. So this is merely expenses. Worst case scenario, that is what it's going to cost us.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
And a last question, Mr. Mayor. On the revenue side, one of the avenues that many transportation services look to is third-party advertising on the buses, et cetera. Now, I note in our contract, and unless I misread it, or the proposed contract, it forbids third-party advertising. Is that correct? Or did I just misread that?
Ms. Van Ravensway?
For you, Mr. Mayor.
Pause on that, Councilor.
I'd have to look again, Mr.
Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, to my knowledge, that if it is that, we will be taking it out, but to my knowledge, it wasn't to be that way. We are expecting to have sponsorships, and we will be advertising even through promotional material if it's not on the actual bus. We will be decaling the bus as Pelham Transit and so forth.
Yeah, that's the intention that's in the report. Perhaps if you could find that clause. I read through it, I didn't see that, but I'm not saying that I didn't read it as closely as you did. Go ahead, Councillor.
Just a final statement, Mr. Mayor. My questions were not in any way designed to give the impression that I'm not supportive of this service. I think it is a beneficial service to the community. I'm hopeful for its success. I just wanted clarity on those items. I would like to get clarity on third-party advertising. I think that's an important stream of revenues. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor, and I apologize if my clarifying that question sort of put you in that defensive position. It was, you always do your due diligence and trying to look at contracts.
Not a problem, Mr. Mayor.
So thank you very much. Other comments, questions as staff are looking for that information about advertising? Councillor Ribbiak?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I too am highly supportive of this. I am interested in knowing what is being projected at this point with regard to ridership, what degree of interest, and at the same time, perhaps, what sense is there for what the fares are going to be?
Ms. Van Ravensway?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. In applying for this grant, we made many assumptions. And one of the assumptions was ridership. We are intending that if we had 5 riders on the bus a day and then building it up. From experience or from speaking to area municipalities such as Niagara-on-the-Lake and Fort Erie, it takes a while for the ridership to improve, and they felt that a 5-rider per trip is reasonable.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Reasonable to start?
At the beginning, yes. And further to that, if I can, obviously that was prior to public consultations. The public consultations, depending on institutions and the promotion of the bus and the customer service. At one point, in going to Lookout Ridge, for instance, at the public consultation, they had to hold the meeting in a larger room due to the response of knowing that there may be public transit, whereas the bus would take them down to the mall or to Sobeys. They were thrilled with that. And in speaking with the employees of Lookout Ridge, we were talking about how we may be able to schedule so that people aren't disappointed that there isn't enough room on the bus. Time will tell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We certainly appreciate that optimism. Others, Councillor Kersey, is it that section that,
6.1.14, your operator responsibilities. Thank you.
okay, thanks. So 6.1.14 says, now this is under operator responsibilities. Operator responsibilities shall include but not be limited to. It says distributing and displaying only transit information or advertising as approved by the town. It is to be noted that external commercial advertising will not be permitted on the buses.
Yes.
So can you explain that clause for the councillor, please?
Mr. Mayor, we will be meeting with the contractor tomorrow morning if this goes through, and we will make sure that that is clarified and that is not the way it will be, because we have full intentions on offering sponsorships to offset costs.
Thank you. I read it as
Approved.
so that Sharp couldn't bring in
Their own people.
their own external advertising, would just be, as it says, advertising approved by the town. That's how I read it.
And that may
But
in
it's
fact be the intent there, but let's get clarity.
clarity. And then there's the other one here about distribution maps, displaying advertising as the town may provide in the next clause as well. So it's good to get that clarity. Now, are you concerned enough that
No.
we need to change it, or just having staff, you're fine with that?
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. I appreciate your eagle eyes on that.
And
Ms. Van Ravensway?
during the pre-consults, which Sharp was involved with, we did speak on sponsorships and on the fact that we will be offering that to try to offset costs. So I'm sure it's intended that, if it's something that we did not approve, it wouldn't be done.
Okay, thank you. Others? Councillor Pat?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just two quick questions. It states in 6.2.5, the bus drivers will be provided with uniforms approved by the town. What uniforms? Would they be the standard that we issue to our own staff?
Mayor, yes, it would be a standard uniform, such as a shirt that we would approve.
Already got it.
And we do have uniforms that our outside employees wear, and it would be something similar to that. And they have agreed to that, and they would be providing it through us.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. The dispatch office, to communicate, where is that going to be located?
The dispatch office is in St. Catharines.
And so they're going to use their office?
Yes,
They're not going to use anything here?
no.
Okay, thank you, that's all.
But it's a 1-800 number or something like that, no toll number?
No
Okay.
toll number, and it is a local
Yeah, I know.
person in the office that's answering the phone.
Okay.
And also, they will be providing a Pelham number.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
Anything else? Thank you. Just want to comment overall. I think a couple of years ago, some of those members in council that have served for a number of years would recall, and those in the community would recall, that we did try to provide a bit of a shuttle service, transit service. It was just mainly in the Fonthill area, and it was starting in September 2008 and ran until August 2009. We did not get the riders that we had hoped for. But I think this service is quite different from that. First of all, the pricing is actually a bit better than that service. This service is farther afield. It includes actually linking sort of the urban area in the west, Fenwick, and the urban area in the east, Fonthill. It links with the regional transit system, which wasn't really that active back in 2008, 2009. It is much more mature now. So it links to that service, and it provides additional service. It provides the Transcab service, and also is part of the services that we normally provide for special events. The other feature that's different is that we actually, instead of just sort of starting a service and trying it, we actually did do the consultations in advance, and not only in advance of the application, as Ms. Van Ravensway indicated, but also as part of the receiving the grant from the provincial government. So I'm much more confident that And especially hearing that people are saying you're gonna have to have all kinds of buses, bigger buses, et cetera. There is some enthusiasm out there. I know I've been in contact with some folks that are, when they heard about this coming and the possibility of our last council meeting, that this was coming up, that they were quite excited about it. So I think by listening to the public, by trying to tailor the service, and I think as staff has indicated, that the service can be tweaked and the routes can be tweaked in the next month or so. I think I'm hopeful, and I know councillors are, that this can be a great service for our community. It is one of our strategic goals, one of our priorities, that we put forward, and I'm very pleased that the provincial government helped us with this, and we were able to get that grant, and then also follow through on this. So I think it's a great service, and I look forward to it operating and getting the feedback from folks on it if we approve this in moments from now. And Councillor Durley has some comments and
Thank you,
questions.
Mr. Mayor. The other big difference, I believe, is the fact that this is a made in Pelham solution.
Yes.
Whereas before we relied on an outside provider, and it was, sometimes the linkage wasn't really there. However, with this, we'll be able to build our own system and our own program, and I think that is truly a positive that will, I'm sure, bring benefits to us. And it's, look forward to staff working with Sharp to put this all together. I'm sure it will be much more of a success than our last adventure was. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Durley, for that reminder as well. Any others? We ready for calling the question? I'm going to call the question now. All those in favor? Any opposed? And that motion has been approved unanimously. Thank you very much. We look forward to hearing further updates on this and working together with the promotions. Thanks again, Ms. Van Ravensway, Ms. Pupo, Mr. CAO, and other staff who've been involved in this, and as well all those who have been consulted. They've provided feedback for everything from Pelham Cares to the retirement homes, etc., that are quite keen on this. So thank you very much. Shifting gears to borrow a pun, we do have another portion of our meeting, and it has been moved by...
That's the bylaw to enter into.
Oh, I'm sorry, we do have the bylaw and then another portion of the meeting. Thank you, Madam Clerk. It has been moved by Councillor Rybak, second by Councillor King. Be it resolved that the Council of the Town of Pelham, having due consideration of the following bylaw, do now read a first, second, and third time and do pass, and that the Mayor Clerk be and are hereby authorized to sign and seal the bylaw. Bylaw 3646 being a bylaw to authorize the Mayor and Clerk to enter into an agreement with Sharp Bus Lines Limited for the provision of Pelham, of public transit service, transcab service, and shuttle service within the Town of Pelham. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Now we will be changing gears for an in-camera portion. It's been moved by Councillor Papp, seconded by Councillor Kersey. Be it resolved that the next portion of the meeting be closed to the public in order to consider the following. An item under section 239(2)B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and under section 239(3.1), education or training session, one item. We ready for the question? All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. We'll now move into closed session. Thanks again.